My friend, have you been waiting, wondering, and praying for a sign about marriage? What if I told you that God has already been speaking to you louder than you think? So many people are searching for answers, asking God, is it my time? Am I really ready? Are you preparing me for marriage? But what if the signs are already there and you just haven't recognized them yet? God is not a God of confusion. He is not silent when it comes to your destiny. And if marriage is part of his plan for you, he will make it known. The problem is we often expect some grand dramatic moment, a loud voice from the sky, an angel appearing with a message, or a perfect person suddenly showing up at our doorstep. But that's not always how God speaks. Sometimes his confirmation comes in ways so subtle, so gentle, yet so powerful that only those truly paying attention will notice. Maybe you felt something shifting inside you. Maybe you've experienced a strange sense of peace about your future, even though nothing has physically changed yet. Maybe people around you have been talking about marriage more often, or you keep stumbling upon sermons, conversations, or scriptures that point toward preparation. Could it be that God is already showing you what's coming next? Today, we're going to break it all down. If you've been asking, is this my season? Then stay with me, because by the end of this, you will know the clear, undeniable signs that God is sending your way. You won't have to second guess anymore. Let's dive into what God is revealing about your future, the deep desire for marriage. The desire for marriage is not just a random thought or an emotional longing. It's something that God himself placed in your heart. He is the one who created marriage, designed it as a sacred union, and intended it to be a reflection of his love. If you have a strong, deep desire for a godly marriage, it is because God has wired you for it. But here's where so many people struggle: the waiting season. You've probably had moments where you wonder, why hasn't it happened yet? Am I not ready? Did I miss my opportunity? And in those moments of doubt, the enemy whispers lies. He tells you that you're too late, that others are getting blessed while you are being overlooked. He tries to convince you that maybe you're not worthy of the kind of love you desire, that maybe you've made too many mistakes, or that God has forgotten about you. But what if none of that is true? What if instead of seeing your waiting season as a delay, you started seeing it as a setup? What if God is not withholding marriage from you, but actually preparing you for something greater than you ever imagined? Because here's the truth: God does not tease his children. He does not place desires in your heart only to frustrate you. If he has given you the longing for a godly marriage, there is a reason for it. And let's be real, marriage is bigger than just love, romance, and companionship. It's a covenant. It's a partnership designed to fulfill a purpose greater than yourself. That's why the waiting season can feel challenging, because God is shaping you into the person he needs you to be before you enter that covenant. The kind of love you are praying for requires preparation. The kind of marriage you are believing for is not just any relationship. It's one that will glorify God. Many times people rush into relationships out of impatience and end up settling for something that was never meant for them. They ignore the red flags. They compromise on their values, and they accept less than what God had in store for them simply because they feared being alone. But when God is truly leading you into marriage, he is not just giving you a partner. He is aligning you with purpose. This is why some of the relationships from your past had to end. This is why certain doors had to close. God was not punishing you. He was protecting you. And that's why you must not lose hope now. The enemy wants you to believe that time is running out, but God is never late. He is working on things you cannot see, moving in ways you don't even realize. What if your season is closer than you think? What if you are on the verge of stepping into something extraordinary, and all God is asking from you right now is to trust him just a little longer? Instead of questioning if it will happen, start asking how you can prepare. Instead of doubting, start praying for wisdom and clarity. If God is truly calling you into marriage, then this season of preparation is just as important as the moment you finally say, I do. God is not making you wait to punish you. He is making you wait to position you. Because when it's finally time, you won't just walk into marriage. You walk into the promise He has prepared for you. The clear signs God is confirming your marriage is coming. Sign 1:1. You feel an unexplainable shift in your spirit. There comes a moment when something inside you just feels different. It's not anxiety. It's not impatience. It's a deep, unshakable knowing that change is coming. You can't fully explain it, but you sense that something in your life is shifting. It's like a quiet confirmation in your spirit, a feeling that God is aligning things behind the scenes. You may notice that your mindset is changing. The things that used to frustrate or distract you no longer hold the same power. You feel more focused, more intentional, and more at peace. It's as if God is preparing you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for the next season. You might not see any physical changes yet, no new person in your life, no clear sign in the natural, but deep down, you just know that something is about to happen. This shift often comes with a new level of clarity. You start letting go of old fears, insecurities, and doubts that once held you back. Your prayers start changing, not just asking God for a spouse, but asking Him to make you ready for the right one. You begin to desire alignment with His will more than just getting what you want. That's a major sign that your season is approaching. God never moves without purpose. When He is about to transition you into something new, He will first shift something inside of you. If you've been feeling this deep sense of expectancy, this quiet confidence that something big is coming, don't ignore it. It's not just a feeling, it's confirmation. Sign 2:2, past cycles are breaking. One of the biggest signs that God is preparing you for marriage is when past cycles start to break. The people, relationships, and habits that once distracted you suddenly start falling away. The things you used to tolerate no longer have a place in your life. It's not just a coincidence. It's God's way of clearing your path. Maybe you've noticed that certain friendships or relationships have ended, even ones you thought would last. People who once had easy access to you are now distant. Conversations that used to excite you now feel empty. The toxic cycles of settling for less, entertaining the wrong people, or going back to unhealthy relationships are breaking. Why? Because God is protecting you from what no longer serves your future. When God is preparing you for a godly marriage, He won't allow you to stay in places that keep you stuck. He will close doors that you don't have the strength to close on your own. You might feel like you're losing people, but in reality, you're gaining clarity. He is removing the distractions so you can focus on what truly matters. This process can feel uncomfortable. It may even feel lonely at times. But don't mistake isolation for abandonment. God is setting you apart for something greater. He is making room for what's coming. If you find yourself in a season where the old patterns are breaking, don't resist it. Let go of what God is removing, because He never takes something away without preparing to give you something better. Your next season requires a new version of you, one that is free from everything that once held you back. Sign 3:3, God is making you wait, but you feel at peace waiting. Sign comes to something as important as marriage. But here's a sign that your season is near. You're no longer frustrated by the wait. Instead of feeling anxious or restless, there's an unexplainable peace inside you. You've stopped chasing relationships, stopped trying to force things to happen, and instead you've learned to trust God's timing. There was a time when the waiting felt unbearable. You may have questioned whether God even heard your prayers. Maybe you used to feel pressure from society, family, or even yourself to rush into something. But now, that urgency is gone, not because you've stopped desiring marriage, but because you finally understand that God's plan is worth waiting for. This peace doesn't mean that you don't still long for companionship. It means that you are no longer controlled by impatience. You've shifted from asking, when will it happen, to Lord, prepare me for what you have in store. That is a major sign that God is working in your heart. He is preparing you so that when the right person comes, you won't be carrying fear, desperation, or doubt into the relationship. God's peace is a powerful confirmation. It's His way of telling you, I've got this. Trust me. If you find yourself in a place where you're waiting, but you're no longer worrying, know that you are exactly where you need to be. This is a sign that your breakthrough is near. Keep trusting, keep preparing, and most importantly, keep your peace, because what's coming is worth the wait. Sign 4:4. Unexpected conversations and messages about marriage keep coming. Have you noticed that no matter where you go, the topic of marriage keeps coming up? Maybe it's in sermons, random conversations, or even posts on social media. You weren't even looking for it, but suddenly it's everywhere. That's not just a coincidence, it's confirmation. God has a way of speaking through repetition. When he is trying to get your attention, he will surround you with reminders of what he's preparing you for. You might hear a pastor preaching about godly relationships. A friend might randomly bring up the topic of marriage. Even the videos and posts you come across seem to align with what's been on your heart. Why? Because God is reinforcing what he's already been whispering to you in private. At first, you might dismiss it as random. But when the same message keeps appearing in different ways, it's a sign that God is trying to confirm something to you. He knows how to speak to you in ways that will get your attention. This doesn't mean you need to rush into anything. It simply means that God is awakening your spirit to what's ahead. He is shifting your focus, preparing your heart, and making sure that you're paying attention. When these messages keep showing up, don't ignore them. Instead, pray for clarity. Ask God, Lord, is this you confirming something to me? Show me what I need to know. The more you recognize these divine confirmations, the more confident you'll be that your season is coming. God doesn't just prepare situations, he prepares hearts. And if you're seeing these signs more than ever, it's because something is shifting in the spiritual before it happens in the natural. Sign 5:5, you are growing spiritually like never before. Before God brings the right person into your life, he prepares you first. A major sign that your marriage season is near is when you start growing spiritually in ways you never have before. Your prayer life is getting stronger. Your mindset is shifting. Your patience is increasing. You're becoming more disciplined, more focused, and more at peace with God's timing. This is not by accident. This is preparation. Think about it. Marriage is not just about love and companionship. It's a spiritual covenant. It's about two people coming together to fulfill God's purpose. So before he brings you into that covenant, he needs to make sure you are ready. If you've noticed that you're seeking God more, letting go of bad habits and becoming more spiritually mature, that's a powerful confirmation that your season is near. You might also notice that your desires are changing. The things you used to settle for no longer interest you. You're no longer looking for just any relationship. You're praying for a godly one. Instead of chasing after love, you're chasing after God. And in the process, he is aligning your heart with his perfect plan. This growth isn't always easy. It requires patience, trust, and sometimes isolation. But every time you pray, every time you surrender, every time you choose faith over fear, you are stepping closer to the promise. So if you've been wondering why you suddenly feel more connected to God, more at peace with his timing, and more focused on becoming the person he created you to be, know that this is not just growth, it's preparation. God is building the foundation now, because when the right person comes, you won't just be ready, you'll be aligned. The enemy's tricks. The enemy knows that when God is preparing to bless you, one of the easiest ways to stop you from receiving it is to plant doubt, fear, and frustration in your heart. He doesn't have the power to block what God is doing, but he will do everything he can to convince you to walk away from it yourself. And that's why so many people miss God's confirmation. They give up right before their breakthrough. You might be feeling like nothing is happening. You've been praying, waiting, and believing, yet there's no visible sign of progress. This is where the enemy whispers, maybe you heard wrong. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe God has forgotten you. He wants you to question everything God has already spoken. Because the moment you start doubting, you stop preparing. The moment you stop believing, you stop expecting. And when you stop expecting, you stop positioning yourself to receive what God has already planned. Another trick the enemy uses is distraction. Sometimes when you are close to your promise, he will send people or situations that pull you in the wrong direction. Maybe an old relationship tries to come back, making you second guess what you know God already told you to leave behind. Maybe you start feeling impatient and consider settling for something that doesn't align with your values. This is not a test of your worth. It's a test of your focus. The enemy knows that if he can get you to settle, he can keep you from the best that God has for you. One of the biggest weapons the enemy uses is weariness. Waiting is not easy. When you've been believing for something for a long time, it's easy to feel tired. It's easy to feel like you've been forgotten. But what if the delay is not denial? What if the waiting is actually proof that God is working on something so good, so perfect, that it's taking time to align? The enemy wants you to quit before you see it, but God is asking you to trust him even when you don't see it. And here's something important to remember. When God is truly moving in your life, the enemy will try to attack your faith. That's why the closer you get to your breakthrough, the more challenges, doubts, and obstacles seem to show up. You may suddenly feel like things are going in the opposite direction. You may start questioning whether you're even on the right path. But what if that resistance is actually proof that you're on the verge of something big? Think about this. Why would the enemy fight you so hard if nothing was coming? He wouldn't. The reason he's working overtime to plant doubt in your mind is because he knows that your promise is near. He knows that if you keep trusting, if you keep believing, you will step into something that he can't stop. That's why he tries to stop you before you get there. But here's what you need to hold on to. God is faithful. If he has placed the desire for marriage in your heart, he is not going to let the enemy steal that promise from you, but you have to guard your heart. You have to recognize the tricks of the enemy and refuse to let them shake your faith. When doubt comes, replace it with God's truth. When fear tries to creep in, remind yourself that God's timing is perfect. When impatience tempts you to settle, remember that what God has for you is worth the wait. The enemy doesn't attack empty places. The fact that you're experiencing opposition is proof that something powerful is coming. So don't give up, don't lose faith. Because right when you think nothing is happening, God is aligning everything behind the scenes. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. What you should do now, many people believe that waiting on God means sitting still, doing nothing, and hoping that one day everything will fall into place. But that's not how faith works. Faith is active. When God places a desire in your heart, like marriage, he doesn't just want you to wait. He wants you to prepare. The time between now and the fulfillment of his promise is not wasted. It's a season of becoming. One of the most important things you can do right now is pray with purpose. Yes, prayer is powerful, but it's not just about asking God to bring your spouse. It's about asking him to prepare you for the responsibility of marriage. A healthy, godly relationship requires wisdom, patience, and spiritual maturity. So instead of only praying for your future spouse, start praying for your own heart. Ask God to develop in you the qualities that will make you a loving, faithful, and spiritually strong partner. At the same time, this is a season to focus on becoming the person God created you to be. Marriage is not a solution to loneliness or a reward for waiting. It's a partnership where two people come together to serve God in a greater way. If you are not actively growing, healing, and stepping into your purpose, now marriage will not suddenly fix everything. God is working on your future spouse, but he's also working on you. If he hasn't brought them into your life yet, it's not because he's forgotten. It's because he's still preparing something perfect in his timing. That's why you need to be intentional about staying in alignment. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results. It's tempting to entertain distractions just because you feel lonely. But letting the wrong people into your life out of impatience will only delay what God has for you. If someone doesn't match the values, vision, and purpose God has set for you, they are not worth your time. Protect your heart. Be selective about who you allow into your life, and don't settle for temporary comfort when God has a lasting promise for you. This is also a time to invest in yourself, grow spiritually, emotionally, and even financially. Strengthen your relationship with God. Work on areas of your life that need healing. Learn how to communicate in a healthy way. Build your confidence and sense of purpose outside of a relationship. The stronger you become now, the stronger your future marriage will be. If you enter a relationship whole, you will build something powerful together. If you enter it broken, you will struggle with things that could have been dealt with before marriage. Most importantly, trust God's process. Every single day, He is working behind the scenes. What you don't see right now doesn't mean nothing is happening. He is aligning things in ways you can't imagine. But your job is to remain faithful. Even when it seems like nothing is changing, keep believing. Even when the wait feels long, keep trusting. Because the truth is, when the right person enters your life, everything will make sense. The waiting, the lessons, the growth, it will all come together. And in that moment, you will be grateful that you didn't settle, that you didn't rush, and that you allowed God to write your love story. So right now, keep praying, keep preparing, and keep your heart focused on God. The season you're in is not about delay. It's about preparation for something far greater than you can imagine. Have you noticed any of these signs in your life? Has God been speaking to you through unexpected conversations, a shift in your spirit, or a deep sense of peace about your future? If so, don't ignore it. This could be your confirmation. When God starts moving, He makes sure you see the signs. The question is, are you paying attention? If you're standing in faith for your marriage, declare it right now in the comments. Type, I receive it, as a way of speaking life over your season. When you declare something in faith, you align your heart with God's promises. This is not just about words. It's about believing that God's timing is perfect and that He is preparing something beautiful for you. And if this message spoke to you, if you found encouragement and clarity, don't stop here. There's so much more biblical wisdom waiting for you. Hit that subscribe button right now, because your next breakthrough might just be in the next video. Don't let doubt steal what God is confirming. Stay connected, keep growing, and keep believing. Your season is coming.